Little One Republic for your morning. Holy shit. I mean, here's the thing. That was like 3 minutes and 54 seconds of your day. If you know that you can feel that good in 3 minutes and 54 seconds, why would you not take the time to feel that good every day? People will say to me like, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to work on my business. I don't have time to do those risky things because I'm so busy. That's bullshit. The thing is, if you spend 10 minutes working on the thing that excites you, that makes your chest like shake, if you spend 5 minutes meditating, you're not going to have 5 extra minutes. You're going to all of a sudden see hours in your day. You're going to create so much more time, so much more space. Who's getting what I'm saying? Unbelievable, you guys. And here's the thing. I'm not going to co-sign. I'm not co-signing. I'm not co-signing on scarcity. I'm not co-signing on what you can't do. Not gonna co-sign. Not gonna co-sign. Want you to write that down. Stop co-signing that. It's enough. You know that's not true. Oh my God. But can you just see the difference in the way you feel right now and 3 minutes and 54 seconds ago? That's why you don't have that dream job, because you feel not like yourself most of the time. That's why. And then even if you have 3 minutes and 54 seconds like that, when it's over, you go right back to sleep. You go right back into that place of there's nothing here and God, I just wish, and it's so far away, and here's my list and here's what I want. Not spending the day in that energy. You spend the whole day in that energy, just watch. The universe is going to send you stuff. You're going to go, oh, now I get to consider whether I want to do this. Look at all the opportunities. Look at all the things that are coming from me. Look at all the ideas. Look at all the collaborations. Look at all the courage. I love that song. For those of you who are watching this on Facebook, we just listened to I Lived by One Republic. And I love that the song emphasizes like pain, like no suffering, but pain. And you should feel it. And you should love so bad that it breaks your heart. And all those broken bones, but you lived, because that is what it's about, right? It's not like I didn't have to go through any risk. I didn't have to be scared at all. Like, F that. Like, you really don't want that. You want to be the person who's like, look at this. Look at what I have to show for it. That's where all the juice comes. That's the best. We underestimate every day. We co-sign and we're like, I've got no greatness. I can't handle that. I can't handle discomfort. I can't handle putting something out there and someone will hate it. Yes, you can handle it. Yeah, you can handle it. Yeah, because it's not about you. It's not about you. People are in their own trip. People have got their own trip going on. Let them have it. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody's on their own trip. So it's really invigorating when you're like, of course I can handle it, right? Of course I can be with it. And then imagine if I made a beeline for the things that actually feel scary. What's on the other side of that? What's the reward for that? I was telling my team, every so often somebody gets dropped on my podcast calendar and I'm just like, my whole body's like, okay. And my whole body will just be like, no, it's scary. And it doesn't really have much logical sense to it, because sometimes like there's somebody who's super famous and it's not about fame, because sometimes I'm just like, that's fine. Like that feels fine. That feels good. But different people, for some reason, different. So this coming Monday, after we get off our call, because we're going to do our call, our first call on Monday for Abundant Ever After. Right after that, I'll be sitting with Tony Robbins, literally 5 minutes after that. And we got the call yesterday and I was just like, can I say no? Can I say no? And then I was like, what's this about? Why do I want to say no? I actually wrote back and I was like, can we postpone? And then I was like, oh yeah, you going to postpone, Kath? You can't You can't woman up to it. Just do it. And I was like, okay, we're just going to do it. Obviously. And I don't know why that is. Different people like Deepak. I was like, Deepak, like I'd known him forever. I don't know. It didn't intimidate me at all. It just depends. But the point is, it's so good to do the things that make us uncomfortable, because let me tell you a little secret. If you can look at your calendar right now for the rest of February, here's a guarantee. If there is nothing on your calendar that scares you, that's making your heart beat really fast, you will not grow this month. You won't. That's how most people don't spend a month. They spend their life like that. It's such a shame. It really is, because we're incredible. Like one person, and I mean this, like we literally can save the entire world. That's how powerful a person is. Like if you turned up your energy, right? Marianne Williamson said, even the most incredible people in history didn't scratch the surface of what they could do, right? Okay, Einstein, he had like imagine if like he kept, right? Like imagine if every person kept like bringing those treasures out of the chest that way. And then we would all, because we all have that Michael Jordan talent. We all have it in something. I'm just saying. So what do you say we get down to what we're here to do? Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Hi. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. You guys, right before this call, I'm doing my own television show, and TV is one of those things where you'll hear people say once you see them on TV, they're like, congratulations. They're like, yeah, we've been working on this for 19 years. It hasn't been 19 years, but we finished shooting the pilot in September. So like, I just got to see it right before, and it's so exciting. It's so exciting. And I'm like, really, I just told Colleen, I was like, this feels like good energy, like to go into this last call, because that was a little bit of like a, what's going on question mark. So I'm really excited about that. And I will say this TV show is happening, and I have meetings like in 2 weeks with HBO Max and Netflix, and we're trying to choose our partner for this program. And the reality is that I won't be able to do these programs for much longer. I just won't, but I'll be able to do things on a bigger scale, which is great, right? And I'll write books and all that stuff. But it is really special that I can get to know people. It's like unique. And in these moments, they kind of like come and they go. So it's really exciting. And you know, it's really exciting that there's a time now, this is good for you guys to hear. There was a time where being 42 years old and a woman and not being a size 0 would equal signs you don't have your own TV show. That's like kind of how it was for a long time. And now it's the opposite. They're like, a woman in business? Wait a minute, you have kids? Do you drive a van? I'm like, I don't. That part I don't. Like, damn it. Okay, but what else? And I'm like, I make lunches. I take them to school, pick them up. Like, great. You know what I mean? They're like, you're not a size 0, are you? I'm like, no, sir. Like, perfect. It's like, your time is now. Like, this is the thing. We stand on the shoulders of giants. All of the inroads that people have made over the years so that we could be full tilt boogies, so that we can be accepted, and not just accepted, but like endorsed for being what we are. It's here for you. It's here for you, right? And Mel Robbins, who's a friend of mine, is like, really, TV? You already have it. Just keep your podcast. That's all that actually you need. And it's true. It's like, I'm just here for like all of it. I'm just like, it's fun to collaborate. It's fun to do stuff. I kind of want to do all of it just to like, why not? But the point is, you really don't even need that. You don't. They're saying to me, we really need you more than you need us, because you already have a following, and you. So it's like, you guys, it is just, the sky is not even the limit. All right. So what should we do first? I think we should have Erica first, right? Because she like took this time to make for us, and it will inspire everybody. So Erica's here. Hi, Erica. I'm so excited to hear your story. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk with Erica. She's going to inspire you, melt your face off. Then once that's done, we will have you guys raise your hands, and we'll be, until I have to go pick up my youngest one, we'll just be here answering as many questions and doing coaching as long as we can. Sound good, guys? Great. All right, Erica, it's your turn.
My turn. Yay.
Tell us who you are. Tell us where you were. Everyone wants to hear that transformation. It never gets old hearing anybody's transformation.
Yeah, I love these stories too. So I'm just honored to be one of them. Let me see. My story starts when I became a mom, and I was working in corporate marketing, and I hated that like my day was 2 hours with my son. And I was like, I'm living for the weekend. Like, this sucks. I'm exhausted. And like, I'm actually wishing for bedtime. Like, and I don't even see my kid, and I want him to go to bed. So fast forward, I get pregnant again, and I had my daughter in November of 2018, was on maternity leave, and decided I cannot go back to work. So I quit my job, and this was like not planned. Like, I had no idea what I was going to do. No business plan. I didn't have money saved. Like, I was the breadwinner. My husband was making like half of what I made. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not going back to work. And like, just started. And so I was doing social media consultancy management for small business owners. And I replaced my income. And then, everything was fine and dandy. And then 2020 hit, and I was doing the same thing. And it was great. Like, no complaints. I made like $60,000, like, as a living wage. Great money, but I was bored. I was uninspired. And I was like, I really just like need more. So January 2021, I joined Made to Do This. And I decided like, I'm just going to surrender to this process, and I'm going to just go balls to the wall, go all in, and really just make this thing happen. And I heard your message, but the first thing that landed with me was, what if you stopped trying and you just sat back and you opened yourself to receive? And I was like, whoa, because I'm a trier. Like, I try. So I sat back, and within a day, I started having people reach out to me about like, hey, like, because of the pandemic, I'm going online and I'm not sure how to do social media. Like, can you help teach me with this stuff? And I was like, whoa, there's something here. And so as my offer that you had us do, I hosted like a $10 workshop on using social media to build your business. And I had people chomping at the bit for more after that. I was like, well, you know what? I have so much to like teach. Like, I have so much knowledge. Like, that was the realization. I was like, I know something here. Like, hey, I might know something here. And so I started going live, like, for free, just teaching people. And I built this audience of people over Made to Do This and over just like my Instagram, and it turned into this, okay, well, now I'm teaching people how to use social media. And then it turned into people coming to me and being like, I want you to like hold my hand through this journey. And so I started one-on-one coaching, and it became this more than teaching about social media, but it became business mentorship. So now I'm full board mentoring people in entrepreneurship, one-on-one live programs. I have a membership full of about 30 women, doing all of it. I'm really freaking good at what I do too, which is something that like, I would have never said a year ago. Like, I would have been like, I'm okay. Like, I'm really good at what I do. And last year I made $109,000. So I am winning in the financials as well. Like, I doubled my income from the year before. But it all started because I chose to just receive, and I chose to invest. The one thing I've learned is the first 2 years of entrepreneurship, I was sitting back trying to figure everything out by myself. And then I was like, these people, they've paved this path for me, and they're out there teaching us. They're out there teaching us exactly what they did to reach these monumental levels. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm so like I need to learn. And so I invested in you, and I invested in a one-on-one coach who I still work with today. And I invested in masterminds, and like, because I invested in myself and I got myself in the energy of all these powerful women, it just keeps me going. So yeah, that's my story, and I could talk about this forever. So
Unbelievable. Can I
Thank
scream
you.
it? Can I give 100 hearts to it at one time?
Yeah.
Look at the chat. It's incredible. It's gorgeous. Let's highlight some of the beautiful pieces of what she said. Gosh,
Yeah.
there's like 19 mic drops, but let's go through some of the ones that just in no particular order. The audience piece. Okay. The audience piece. I want you guys to write this down because this is something that I teach. Erica's heard it, but this is part of what we do in the program. And this is an amazing takeaway. Audience is currency.
Yeah.
Audience is currency. So when I say my podcast has 27 million downloads, right? It's the engagement of it. Even if it was, I mean, because when I started my first $1 million, right? I didn't have a podcast, but I built an engaged audience. Engagement. It's an engaged audience. It becomes currency. Okay. And I turned that into my first offer was $997. I made $147,000 in a night. Right. Then the next offer, we had 441 people buy it at $997. So I made 400. You can do the math. That one's an easy, it's 1,000 for every person. And then we doubled the price to 2,000. And so I made $1 million before I started that podcast. I didn't have an Instagram account, but I had created an audience, right? By doing what she just said, by giving it away, by having workshops. I was doing workshops in my house. Then I started renting a theater in LA for $200. I would give these workshops. Then I did what we would call, first it was a webinar, although I wouldn't really call it that because I didn't have a slideshow. It was just me giving like this. Okay. Then I started to noodle around with 5-day challenges. But what she just said was, this is what's so interesting about when we let go of trying. What you said was, what if I stop trying? And then literally you said, if I could try on instead receiving. And right after you said receiving, you're like, so I just started to give things away. Why? Why does it work that way? That she said, I learned like I could just receive. Then I started giving things away, because when we are actually dropped in and our cup starts to feel full, because we're not grasping, we're not in scarcity, we're not in lack, we start to receive, like, maybe this is just going to come to me. Oh, now I can give something away because I have a full cup. Do you guys see that? So now I start to just make deposits because I'm not rushing. There's no agenda. I'm not trying to close the sale, right? You're not on a first date with some guy who's like trying to get in your pants and you're like, I don't know you. Like, chill, like, move, like, sit back in the pocket. Like, we say that in music, get back in the pocket, like drop it, right? She received, and then she can give from that place. And there's no codependency because she doesn't need you to like it because she's full. So she's just going to give. And if you like it, you do. And if you don't, you don't. And she's just giving. And then people are like, I want more. And this is where we teach you in this program, because I'm going to make you've heard this concept. I'm going to help you to the point where I'm going to make you make an offer, right? But once you make that offer, it's kind of an illusion, because the way we have you do it is first you're giving it away for free. And then there's no real sale, because those people who've enjoyed it for free just raise their hand and say, like she said, what else? Like, what else? Like, if I did a 5-day workshop, like we've been doing, and at the end I was like, have a great day, you'd be confused. But even if you weren't confused, no doubt I would get DMs like, how can I work with you? Where do I, because guess what? That's what happens from my free podcast all day, every single day. And there's no offer at the end. People are like, so great, I heard the podcast. So do you do this? Do you have a workshop? Do you have a book? Do you have a thing? You did it, right? So these are some of the nuggets. I want to know though, for you, Erica, like, how do you feel? How does your life feel? Talk about receiving, the quality of your life. Yes, you made $109,000, but how do you feel? How is your life different?
I am literally, like, it's not even a cliche. I'm literally excited to wake up every day. I have freedom. I have freedom in how I spend my time. I have 2 little kids, and like the whole thing about this was I want to spend more time with them, and like I am able to. I have freedom in choices. I have freedom in, you know, where I go and how I like what I do, and it's mine. It's all mine, and I feel free because of that. And then I think you tapped on it. You touched on being fulfilled. Like I truly know in my heart this is what I was meant to do. And you know, I'm like, this is everything that I ever did, ever tried, was like leading me here. And it just, there's so much proof of, wow, this is really like super aligned for me. And like, but like at the end of the day, I just like, I have no more, I mean, I have goals and ambitions, but I have no more wants. Like I'm just here at peace with myself because I'm doing what I was meant to do, and I'm fulfilled with it. And I get to meet amazing women, and I get to watch other people succeed. And it's just like, it's very much just, yeah, like I always say to people, like the financial success was just a byproduct of like finding myself.
Yeah, that's what happens. And when I asked Gretchen Rubin that question, because she's done all this research on happiness, I was like, does it really make us happier if we have more money, like plenty of money? So we're not like in this scarcity. How am I going to pay the light bill or whatever? And she said, yes, because the freedom that comes, right? Yeah. The freedom of not having to worry and being able to then use your time and have lunch with a friend because you're not in that place, right?
Right.
It's so beautiful to hear you say that, because even if I were to say to you that there's a job right now where someone was willing to pay you $209,000, would it feel at all the same?
I had moments of like, you know, you just check the job board and you're like, oh, like I'm totally qualified. I could never go back to that because it is the freedom of time, but it's also like, because everything I've created is mine, I don't have to answer to people. There's so much like freedom across the board. You could give me double the money and I would not go back to an office.
No way. No way. And you know what's so beautiful too is like how I showed up in your life, and so did a few other mentors, and then you were able to lift your wave, right? So now your tide is helping other people rise. Yeah. Like that's what's so cool. That's literally just what happens. That's why I say, like, I'm not going to co-sign that there's a belief that there's scarcity. And people are like, what do you say to people who can't afford things? And I'm like, we come up with it. We will. And even if you can't, I won't co-sign that there's a reality that it's not there for you. Like I'm not co-signing that, because when you invest in yourself, right, you show up differently, you get held accountable, you then, you do the work because you're like, crap, I better do the work. I paid to do this. Like, so if I don't show up and now complete it, I'll only be more upset with myself. And it really is just gorgeous to see you just look at her. And that's the thing is like, aren't you happy for her? Right? Like we tend to feel shame around, oh, who would I be to charge? But then you look at Erica, you're like, I love Erica. Like, yeah. And you get to have that too. Colleen, is there anything coming up for you or a question that you want to ask her?
Oh gosh, it's just so beautiful to see you here and sharing it and seeing you in that light, I guess. What would you say, Erica, to people who are, I guess, still in that space where they can feel they're pulling on their heart, right? Mm-hmm. Like they can feel that calling, but they're still getting caught in, but I don't know, and maybe this, and maybe that, and maybe this. Like, what help do you make that decision?
You're always, for me, it's like, I heard somebody say, you're always going to have fear. You're always going to have doubt. It's just every level that you raise yourself, the fears and the doubts become about different things. It's human nature to have fear and doubt. If you didn't have that, you wouldn't be human. I have fear and doubt. I'm sure Cathy does. Like, I'm sure you do, Colleen. Like, we all live that. But what I chose to do is listen to the higher vibration of myself, the person who can see myself making millions of dollars, who has big goals, who knows that there's something more there. it was the same person I lived into when I quit my job. I was like, yeah, of course this could totally suck. And like, we could totally like lose our house. Like, of course that's a reality, but I didn't choose that reality. I chose success. And it truly is that simple. It's just making the choice. Investing in yourself is always going to be scary because there is no proof. There is no proof that like at the end of the day, you're going to make the money back. But investing in yourself kind of signals the universe that I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. So you lead, the universe follows. And I've seen that. You just have to have the faith. That's about like tapping into your like feminine energy and like all of those things is like, I have this faith. I believe that this year I'm going to make X amount of money. And then because I believe that and I feel it with everything in my body, then it's the intuition that I follow to move forward and take the steps I need in order to do that. It doesn't need to make sense, but if you're feeling pulled to do something, I say that's your higher self saying go for it. And like, say, thank you, fear. I understand you're here for a reason. Like you're very, like, I understand your job is to keep me safe and comfortable, but I'm done with safe and comfortable. Like I'm done with safe. I'm ready to, I have goals, I have dreams, and I'm going to go after them. So my higher self is taking this one.
Oh, it's so beautiful to hear you say all of this. And we haven't gotten on a call. Like I didn't know what you were going to say other than
I've never done. We haven't
I just know that you're awesome. So I was like, I want people to hear the story. But these are like, God, if I could have written you a script, like Erica, yes, say it again.
Well, let's remember, I do this for a living now too. So
yeah, that's true. That's awesome. That's so awesome. And I'm so glad because we'll put this on the podcast and everybody can hear that as well. Okay. It's so beautiful. And I think I would say this though, because you know me, I kind of live in this like alternate frequency of my own. And she's like, there's no proof. The proof is though, that the money's there. Yeah. That's true. Like the market is there. The people are there. The buyers are there. And there's evidence of people like you, right? And you had many, many classmates. Like it would be hard to even like remember all of the names of all of the people who were able to like double, triple, quadruple their investment. So we have the evidence of it, I think, but you're right. The ego wants certainty that we, in a certain amount of time, we're going to for sure know the outcome and all that. You're absolutely right. And that's where the soul gets to say, well, nothing good ever came from my ego. So I'm not listening to you. You're not going to captain this ship. And I want to say to you, Erica, as somebody who's been able to, for a second, have the honor of being your coach, now that you've made 109,000, you're going to make $1 million for sure. That's how it works. So I usually say to people like, let's get you to 100,000, because once you can get to 100, you can scale it to $1 million. The hardest part, right, is actually not even getting to 15,000. It's that first dollar. You make that first sale, and then you get a little more comfortable. You start to figure out who your audience is. You start to show up in the energy of that. Like you said, I wouldn't have said a year ago, I'm good at this. Now you're like, I'm good at this, as like fait accompli. Yeah. You are, right? And so your energetic now holds that. You just hold that vibration. The confidence doesn't come first. The courage comes first, then that confidence, right? So then you get to that place where now you're like at $100,000. Now you're ready to say, okay, there's been proof of concept now so many times. So many people have hired me. Okay, so how am I going to scale this? Yeah. And I kind of want to coach you for a second. How are you planning to scale it?
Let's do it. Raising my prices. I have more offers. I just raised my prices for one-on-one coaching. And then also just accepting more clients. I have 3 tiers of pricing. So I have the high tier, like all access one-on-one. I have middle kind of, middle ground where it's more live programs, monthly live programs, which I really love the live energy, but I like a shorter, like more condensed, intensive. And then a low ticket, which is my membership. So that's kind of there to help me scale.
I love how she has that model, right? We talk about having like those 3 pieces of your offer. Cause like, think of it, like you go into Gucci, some people are like, can I just get that keychain? And they're like, there it is, and then that's like their entry level, like you can get this. Then there's sort of that middle, then there's like sort of like the whole deal. So she's got that. So let's talk about scaling, and then let's talk about visibility for a second.
Yes.
So visibility wise, what do we have going on? Is there a podcast? What's going on?
It's interesting. So I have continued to do my free live trainings. I have it in a private Facebook group, but it's completely free. It's just request. It's called Design Your Dream. So I do free live trainings every Wednesday, and then I take that audio and turn it into a podcast. So I'm not making more work for myself. So that has all started in 2022 again. So that, and then I have an Instagram, it's at Erica Gregory. There I do just content creation and kind of mini coaching sessions on my stories. Yeah, that's one of my goals this year, is to really grow my community. I feel like I've spent a lot of time building a business last year, and this year it's all about the growth. And one of those is just continuing to add value where I can.
Okay. So one little tweak, and then I promise we'll let other people raise their hands. You're doing a free coaching every single week, right? You said in this group.
Yeah.
So we need to sort of harness momentum and then push all of it at one time. Okay. So when I do these launches, and you guys are kind of seeing this is very meta, because like you're seeing me in my business, and I'm teaching you about what you can apply to your business. So we create a new pop-up group every time. And we had a free Facebook group that people were just following my podcast and whatever else for 5 years. And it grew to like 25,000 people. And my amazing integrator, Colleen, was like, and we're closing it because it's a drain on your business. Now, by the way, I didn't really ever think that it was like awesome for my business. I just thought you should do it. And so every so often, more so in the beginning of starting my show, I would go in there more regularly and do free stuff. Here's the thing, you guys, there is an algorithm to social media. Okay. And there's also heat. How warm are the people that are there, right? Somebody signed up for something and they've been sitting in there for 8 weeks or 9 months or whatever else. Are they going to show up and they're like, oh yeah, she does that thing every week. You know what I'm saying? Versus here's a pop-up.
Okay.
And when you're learning Spanish or Hebrew or Italian or whatever the hell you're learning, what do they tell you? If you want to learn, it's an immersion.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to harness this energy. So you're like coming on, hey, everybody, I'll be back next week. They're like, why do I need to move into action? Of course, you know why they need the action, because you and I both know if they just sit there and be a part of this free group, they're not moving. There's no movement. You guys, I have tested this theory in so many ways and the data is unequivocal. But one time in LA, Emma, my producer, and I were like, let's give free tickets to watch a podcast live. And we'll have Andy Grammer and Colby Calais. And we thought, everyone's coming, free tickets. So you guys, we have a huge audience in LA. We sent the link. We're like, okay, we're going to get like a 500 seat theater. And the guests everyone's good to go. I show up to the theater like 2 hours early to do sound check. And I'm like, okay, nobody's here. Okay, but we have people RSVP. It's awesome. It's great. And like the musicians start to come in and nobody's there. One person came. Do you guys know why? It was free in the middle of the day. We did it again and charged $36. Everybody came. Because if you pay $36, you show up. You go, damn it, I don't want to lose $36. If you don't pay, you go, I love Andy Grammer and it's Cathy Heller and it's 20 minutes away, but I got to take the day off of work. I got to not be able to pick up my kid and I didn't pay for it. It's okay. I'm sure she's recording it, right? It's a live. It's okay. Mic drop, mic drop, mic drop, mic. Don't tell me. Cathy, if you're really a lover of the world, do it all for free. And scene, nobody grows. Nothing happened, anyone. No one's invested. It's the word. It's so what we don't get. I was so embarrassed. I very quickly was like, telling the musicians, can you meet me at my house? There was a scheduling error and we'll just do it in my living room. Oh my God, you guys. Story for the ages. In any case, I learned a big lesson and I want you to learn this lesson. So it's really good to give stuff away for free.
Yeah.
And if you want people to show up for it, right, we need to have people raising their hand. We need to have people who are, so this challenge, right? We were running ads for it. We were talking about it on the podcast for what, 2 weeks before? No more than that.
Yeah.
And then keeping them active. And then we start and we're like immersive, right? And then I'm done. I'm out. Then the group gets shut and we don't use it again. Right. That's it. So that might help a little bit. So it's more of an exclusive. And then the people who are watching, if you go live in a group of people who didn't raise their hand to listen to you on that Tuesday, they're not going to check in and go look at it. Only people who are like, oh, I happen to see she's here. Or maybe some people are like, they enjoy it. But if you want more people, so think of it. If we have a Facebook group of 25,000 people, you think, Kath, just do the challenge in there. No, it's the worst place to do it. Because those people didn't sign up for that challenge and they're part of now an algorithm. And if when Facebook lets people know that I'm live, it dilutes that with all these people who are like, oh, challenge, didn't even hear about it, not sure, not interested. Is this making sense? Is anyone on the call getting this? Yeah. So when we're working on our business, this is what I'm saying. This class is going to melt your face off because the amount of detail to it. And then people just throw darts at the wall. Like you said, I was like, why am I trying to figure this out on my own? If something happens once, it's an incident. If something happens twice, it could be a coincidence. If something happens over and over and over and over again, there's a strategy there. Someone's figured something out. Don't waste your time. And some people, and I've told you this too, value their money more than their time. And they're like, I would never give away the money, so I'll waste more time. I value my time, not even close. I'm like, the money is, it's not even a second. It's like a 96 to the time, right? My time. So I want to figure it out without having to duct tape it together. So it's like, what's the answer, right? What's the answer? And I've gone through years of my own like trial and error, as well as working with coaches and mentors. So then I can go, okay, now I'm just doing this. Of course, I'm just doing that. So, and have you done, I'm sure you have, because you've been in my program. Have you done my version of a 5-day launch?
I have not done 5-day launch. I've done a 3-day launch, but
let's audit the launch for a second.
Okay.
Tell me about the launch. How many people were in it? What was your promise of your program? And tell me like a little bit about how it went down.
Okay. This was last summer, so bear with me. I think I had 25 people on the free launch. And then I had 4 people sign up for the class, which was a $1,500 class. So I was okay with that being my first one.
Think of the conversion rate of that.
Yeah.
The great conversion rate. So a few things have to happen. First of all, we need to get the show up rate really high. We need to get more people to show up. So there's things that we can do to get that show up rate higher. And then let's talk about your cart open. So when you invited people to the offer, did you have a very clear, this is what the promise of the program is?
Yeah, so it was like a 3-week immersion program. The first week was it was for new entrepreneurs. First week was about how to earn money. Second week was how to expand and grow your business. And the third week was embodying the entrepreneur, being the entrepreneur. So that was the transformation. When I offered it, that was, the template of each day. So the first day was like a brief summary of earning. The second day was brief summary of expanding. The third day was brief embodying. So there was like a little taste of what we're going to dive into when we launched.
Okay, Erica, get ready. I'm throwing $1 million at you. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. When we are not specific and very, very concise, it costs us money. It's expensive. Now, let me tell you something. This launch, I'm being figurative. that it's expensive, but okay. This launch that I'm doing right now is expensive for me.
Yeah.
Because let me say it this way. I've earned the ability to do it expensive because I'm in a place where I'm making almost 8 figures and I can kind of like play with what do I really want to teach and say and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But made to do this, the reason I didn't add in, I went to UCLA for 2 years to study mindfulness, right? And I was in Israel for 2 years studying Kabbalah, these are like powerful, gorgeous. Why did I not give myself like add all that? Now, here's the thing. You're only going to get me, right? So the people who signed up for me to do this, they got that anyway. Anyone who's on those calls, how many times did we cry our eyes out? How many times were we having these spiritual, overwhelming breakthroughs, meditation, visualizations? You're getting it anyway. Yeah. But write this down. What do we do with people? We sell them what they want and we give them what they need. They don't know what they even need. Okay. So here's the thing. With Made to Do This, what did I repeat over and over and over again? I was like, idea to income in 12 weeks. Idea to income in 12 weeks. What's the promise of the program? Idea to income in 12 weeks. What's the promise of the program? Oh, she said it. It's idea to income and come up with your idea and make your first dollar, create an income from it. Very clear. When we did the podcast program, in 3 days, we sold it out because it was, what's the promise of the program? You're going to start a podcast. By the end of this program, you started your podcast. Oh, and you learned it from me and I have a really successful, but by the end of this program, you have the tools to have a successful podcast. They're given to you. It's concrete, you started, but that's easy to do. Okay. People do not buy process. You guys listen. They don't buy, they don't buy the process. They buy the outcome, buy the outcome, buy the outcome. So when you just said to me, what's the promise of the program? And I'm smart and I know you and love you. So I got it. But what you used your words to tell me was the process.
Okay.
There's embodying and then there's this and then there's that. And I'm like, all those things sounds cool. What do I walk away with? So when we had people right now join Abundant Ever After, we made these things that people could post in their feed that says, I am abundant. So it's like, what's the real promise of the program? You're abundant, period. You're living an abundant life. But again, this was sort of like a risky, fun thing we wanted to try where I was going to be like, okay, we're going to get into the energy of receiving and then I'm going to teach you this business stuff. I guarantee you, we would have been sold out by last Friday night if I just would have said the idea to income. Like, because I'm telling you, it's incredible how quickly that works. But I am writing a book, my second book. The woman who's working with me in Macmillan has been in the launch the whole time. We've been transcribed. Like I had other pieces of things and I very much want to feel even more like I'm taking risks. So I kind of went in this like bigger direction because I also wanted to call forward people who were a little more savvy and sophisticated this time. But for you, I want you at $1 million. And then I want you to like swirl in crystals or whatever. So you're gonna give it to them anyway. You're gonna be your full tilt boogie self. That's not change. That's not changing. But confused buyers don't buy, and we need the outcome. So tell me again what the outcome is.
The outcome is at the end of 3 weeks, you'll have a foundation for growing your $100,000 business.
Done. Sold. Over and over and over and over and over again. That's it. And there's more I want to say, but I want to give other people a hot seat. But you can DM me. We'll keep talking. But
I would love that. Yeah. Thank you for this. This has been really great.
Yeah, you're at $1 million. I need you at $1 million by next February because you're amazing, and the world needs you at $1 million because more people need that from you. Where I would go with you next is what's happening after the 3 days, because all of it happens afterwards.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And so we have to understand human behavior and we have to understand people. And when we get out of, and this isn't for Erica, you can feel her energy is very clean. But sometimes when people are still in, do they like me? And there's a little bit of codependency, we don't know how to hang out in the after time because we take it really personally, what decisions people make and how quickly. And that's not the way to do it. It's like the opposite. It's just when you think like, you're doing sit-ups and then your trainer, you finish 100 and she goes, do 10 more. You get more out of those additional 10 than you did out of the first 100. That's a fact. When we go into the second part, things start to change in a different way. And so I want to talk to you about that.
Okay.
And I have good news for everybody who's listening. Colleen and I talked about this just before we got on the call. I could show you a screenshot of it. I said, we got to give them something, right? What else can we give them? So for everybody who has not signed up, and by the way, if you signed up early and you've heard me offer bonuses, you get everything that comes after you sign up. So you get this too. So not only do I teach what I just taught, because I can only teach what I can't hold back. It's really hard to hold back a wave. It's just coming. But we have an additional thing that a lot of our past students also were involved with this bonus, which is the Lightning Launch Lab, which is like, in addition to me teaching you sort of steps in the program, there's like a 2-day intensive workshop where we just go over every single freaking step of the launch. And if you sign up by midnight, you're all also getting that. We didn't even think of adding it because we've done, honestly, Colleen's like, Lightning Launch Lab is so good. Like you could just, and I was like, yeah, we could add that. Why didn't we think of it? And so sure enough, Erica and I were talking about launching, even though I didn't know we would, but that's very, very fun. Erica, DM me. We can troubleshoot a little more. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Tell everybody where they can find you and follow you.
Yeah. At Erica J Gregory on Instagram, and everything else is just from there. I'm mainly on Instagram. So
you have so many fans from our program in the chat, loving you up.
So much, you guys. I mean, I come on here really just to tell you I'm like a very normal person, and I just took a risk, and that's all is required, really. And just doing the work, the inner work is so important. So
I love you. You're so easy to love. You're going to continue to be so successful. I love that we got to have this time together. Thank you for being here.
I love it. I'll DM you for sure.
Okay, honey.
All right.
We have the best people in our world, really, truly, really, and truly.